Hello, hello. I'm Alex.
And I'm Kat.
And we welcome you to Renaissance Swag TV.
Live in 2016.
First episode of the year.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us today.
And for those of you who have been following us, thank you for your support.
We appreciate it. We hope you had a great new year.
Yes.
And we realized that in the last few months of 2015, we kind of took a little bit of a hiatus, and it definitely made us feel uncomfortable. Why did we stop creating? And what we realized is that we felt like there was this huge roadblock in front of us, this big giant.
Yeah.
That giant being adhering to the status quo and playing by society's conventional rules.
Right.
But what we realized is that we're actually looking at ourselves and this giant all wrong.
So funny you should say that, because we've been telling a story for 3,000 years wrong, right? And this story is in our collective conscious, it's in our art, it's been in our literature. It's there, and you don't even realize it's there. So here it goes. Here's a young shepherd. You know, short little, cute little guy. And he's about to go in a battle with a big giant, about 6'9". This guy is garnished and just, he has all this beautiful bedazzled bronze armor, sword, spear, javelin. I mean, he's equipped.
I'm picturing mess of hair, terrible body odor.
Terrible body odor.
Gnarly guy.
Gnarly guy. And then there's this just young shepherd boy with just a sling. And so this young boy is part of a group of people. And of course, the other big gnarly guy is part of his group of people. And two groups of people are trying to get over land. You know, they're trying to fight over land, and whoever wins gets the land. Boom, done, great. Well, the leader of the young boy was looking at his men and saying, is anyone going to come up, and who's going to fight this big, gnarly dude? And no one but the young shepherd comes. So the young shepherd, so the leader said, well, well, that's it. We got to use him. He's the only one we got. So now the young shepherd goes in, and here's this big guy, you know, there he is, just standing here with his armor on, ready to fight. And he says, come here, that I may, you know, feed you to the birds and you know, what's...
Basically, I'm going to kick your butt.
Kick your butt. I'm going to kick your butt. And so the young boy goes in, takes his slingshot. Now, if you were a kid when you were younger, you know these slingshots. You pull back, you put a rock in there, aim, fire, target. Boom! Knocks him right in the head, right in the middle. Now, this young boy goes over, takes the spear, knocks this guy's head off. Just like that. And he's a victor. But all along, while his people were up on the top of the mountain, they thought, there is no way this young boy is going to kill this gnarly beast. No way! And yet he does. And we've all thought that this underdog wasn't going to do it. The underdog being David, the gnarly dude being Goliath. Now, we could look at this story in two ways. How to leverage your strengths and how to change the rules.
So here's a little bit of context. Back in the day, when you were about to, I guess you would say, have a parlay, it would be hand-to-hand combat. Right. That's what Goliath was expecting. However, David wasn't going to play by those rules. He was going to use artillery. So he was used to protecting his flock of sheep with his slingshot. He would kill wolves, he would kill
lions,
all these predators, right? So he felt like, I can use my slingshot and knock this dude out. But no one was expecting that because the traditional rules of the game required hand-to-hand combat.
Right.
But David's a shepherd. Why should he play by the normal rules?
Right. And Goliath plays by hand-to-hand combat. Why did he think anyone else was going to play by any other rules?
Exactly. So both sides were expecting both parties to play by the same rules, but that wasn't the case. So how can we apply this ancient story that's so enriched and embedded in our culture to modern day life? And I want to share a little bit personal of an example.
Yeah,
so I was talking to one of my colleagues, and he was asking me just certain things about my career. And right now, for the past 3 years actually, I've elected to do 3 to 18 month contract deals with consulting, just leveraging different skills, whether it's event production or marketing or business development. And that's what I chose. Aside from, instead of one full-time job, I do a few different gigs at a time. And he said to me, well, you shouldn't be doing that. You're totally not employable. Someone's going to look at that and say, I can't trust this girl to work with me because she has not committed to one job. She's bouncing all over the place and she doesn't have a focus. But what I said to him is that I'm not trying to actually climb a corporate ladder. I'm not trying to play by your rules. I'm trying to play by my rules because I'm trying to set myself up in the future. I want to run my own company, and that requires apprenticeship style learning. So I'm learning way different skill sets than someone would be at an entry level position in a Fortune 500 company because I'm working with smaller businesses. I can see what does it really take to run a business? What are the pains and the struggles so that one day when I'm in that position, I'm able to learn firsthand. And that would have taken me a long time to learn in a traditional structure.
Right.
So yeah.
No, I was just, it's so interesting because in a way from that story, I feel like we've been perceiving advantages and disadvantages
all wrong.
Incorrectly, right? So in a way, your colleague thinks that your
hurting myself,
perceived weakness of kind of doing all these odd jobs, but really it's your strength because you have a set goal that is going to keep you equipped. You have different tools in your toolkit to help you along your journey.
Exactly. And that's the way I choose to look at it.
Yeah.
And this, as again, we were saying when we were on this hiatus, we felt this huge pressure, and we felt this pressure that we need to create this blog that is going to give us financial security. And that's BS because we are more artists than business people, and that's actually the case. And we want to be creating just for the sake of creating and putting great content out there without any expectations of results. And that's
expression without attachment.
Exactly. And it's challenging, but that's what we're committing to in the new year.
Yeah, so basically this story just kind of like reignited that fire in the belly for us. Like revitalized saying we could change the rules, we could play by our own rules, and there are strengths that we have that we're kind of dumbing down, and yet they're our powerful arsenal.
Exactly.
Don't, in a way, you should look at yourself, and like we did, and we looked at ourselves, what is the sling in your wallet, in your belt, and what are the rocks that you're holding that are firing out? So think about that question, because you don't want to be the guy with armor weighing you down. He's got 100 pounds of armor weighing him down. This young shepherd was agile. He was free to move. He was in motion. He had mobility. That's something that we want to flourish and garner in our life. So.
Absolutely. And we want to challenge you to, how do you perceive those disadvantages that other people might conceive as a disadvantage as your advantage and as your true strengths? And I bet you'll be surprised that you can discover more than a handful. So we challenge you to leverage your strengths and don't play by other people's rules. Play by your own rules.
All right. So with that said, we will see you next week.
Ciao, ciao. Happy first week of 2016.
Well, it's like week 2 right now.
Okay, well.
Week 2. It's week 2.
Well, happy week 2.
Happy week 2.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Mwah.